Horford snatched an offensive rebound and dropped in the winning basket with 1.9 seconds left to give the top-seeded Atlanta Hawks an 82-81 victory over the Wizards. Horford saved the night with 23 points, 11 rebounds, 5 blocked shots, and now they have a 3-2 lead in the semifinals.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't supposed to be involved in the play at all. I was supposed to just set a screen for Kyle, which I did. We put our trust in Dennis. He had a great drive. And then when I just saw the ball go up, I just ran in there. It's just a hustle play.
John Wall back in the lineup and played well with 15 points and 7 assists, but as a team, the Wizards had their worst offensive game this postseason. Bigger picture, though, what was the biggest reason the Wizards lost the game? Stephen A., biggest reason they lost the game?
Well, the biggest reason they lost the game was Nene, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, John Wall comes back. He gives you 37 minutes. He shoots 7 of 16 from the field. He finishes with about 15 points, 7 assists, 4 steals. And more importantly, he contributed to defending Jeff Teague, which is what I was saying, Skip, all along. John Wall is the X factor in all of these, in all of the success the Washington Wizards has had. He's definitely developed into a really, really good player. He's going to be one of the elite point guards in the NBA in years to come because of his athleticism, his speed, and more importantly, his defense. Kyle Lowry for the Toronto Raptors, Jeff Teague for the Atlanta Hawks. They have effective games when he's not on the floor. But his size and athleticism and his willingness to defend makes him incredibly formidable and difficult to deal with because he not only can do things offensively, but he disrupts what opponents want to do offensively because of his ability to neutralize point guards. Having said all of that, Nene has given me nothing in this series for the Washington Wizards. Absolutely nothing. With the exception of one game, he's been an absolute no-show, and you expect more from him because he's better than that. Now, yesterday he did, he was boxing out somebody, sort of stumbled and tripped over, and that's how Al Horford came in and snatched a rebound with 2 hands for the putback. So I hold Randy Whitman somewhat accountable for the loss as well, because if you're the coach, you know they're going to crash the boards. You know you only need 2 points, not a 3, to win. Rebounding the basketball is incredibly important. Schroeder drives to the basket. John Wall blocks his shot, but Al Horford comes up in there, and snatches the ball away from Nene, who was stumbling over. Well, why wasn't Marcin Gortat in the game with Nene? You needed another big body. Paul Pierce is a closer. There's no question. You want him to be Mr. Big Shot. But at age 36, 37 years of age, why is he on the court for the last play defensively when you know you're trying to neutralize the opposition from scoring a basket? Otto Porter obviously was out there. He should have been. John Wall was out there. He should have been. Nene was on the court for rebounding purposes. He should have been. But Gortat should have been in the game, in my estimation, with them. And maybe some other defender outside of Paul Pierce. That did not happen. So when I look at this particular loss, I do put it on Coach Randy Whitman, and I do put it on Nene, although I'm still of the belief that this series is not over. I expect the Wizards to win Game 6, and I'm not ruling out them going back to Atlanta to win a Game 7.
By the way, Nene did get his hands on that
ball.
rebound.
Yes.
He had hands on ball.
Yes, he
and
did.
Al Horford just wanted that basketball in that game more than Nene did at that split second. I agree he was falling down, boxing out. I get all that. But when you get your hands on the ball, you got to control the basketball because you're controlling the series and the game. And it's all coming down to, can you hold on to the basketball? Because John Wall did block Schroeder's shot. So that was beautiful. That looked like the defensive play of the game following the Mr. Big Shot offensive play of the game by Paul Pierce, the corner 3 that had put them up. Now, I got a couple of quick takeaways for you. First of all, big picture, that was as poorly played an exciting NBA playoff game as I have ever watched. It was, most of it for me, Stephen A., was an eyesore of 2 teams crumbling under the Game 5 pressure that they're not really experienced at, except for the truth, except for Paul Pierce, who's trying to lift his mates up above it.
Right.
But it was just hard to watch because it was one stumble after another bumble after another crumble. And I'm saying, what are you guys doing? The final score is 82-81. They were having a hard time scoring, both teams. They both had long droughts. But now let's get back to the drought. The Wizards are up 9 with 6 minutes plus to go, just about 6:15 to go. Up 9. I know you're on the road. I know you're against the best team in the Eastern Conference in the regular season, but you have to close that deal. So in that sequence from 6 minutes down to 2 minutes, they had 0 for 7 shooting with 2 turnovers. Paul Pierce missed a couple of shots. Bradley Beal missed a couple of shots. John Wall missed a couple of shots and had a turnover along with an Otto Porter turnover. So that's 9 empty trips in a row. And you look up, and Atlanta's up 5. You're up 9, they're up 5. You just can't do it. Then you've just thrown the game up for grabs. And again, Paul Pierce almost pulled it out with the 2 late threes. And then it brings you back to Al Horford. May I please say, I know he doesn't resonate with our audience. I know he's not a big name. He is simply the most underrated and unheralded player in the entire National Basketball Association.
That's fair.
I've watched him for years, Stephen A. Every time I turn on a Hawks game that's close late, Al Horford makes a shot or a play. Every time I turn it on. He'll sit down there and shoot that set shot. He made a 3 last night from the corner. I'm going, he can do that? They're clutch shots. They're big shots. He is the rock upon which this team is built that had the best, obviously, Eastern Conference record this year. Go ahead.
Skip, you make a good point, and you'll appreciate this. People forget this was the teammate of Joakim Noah when they won back-to-back national titles at Florida.
Yep.
Al Horford is a winner. Al Horford finds a way to get things done. It ain't pretty.
Nope, not
but
pretty.
He rebounds, he scores. More importantly, he defends. And he is the rock of the Atlanta Hawks and has been since he has arrived. It's no, and let me tell you something. You can't underestimate and you can't say enough about the job that he does. He's a special player.
He's a special
player.
player.
But I will tell you this. In a Game 7, even if it's in Atlanta, and I have to bet my money in the waning moments on him or Paul Pierce.
I'm with you.
I'm rolling with Paul Pierce.
I am too.
In a Game 7.
He's done it
when
too
I
many
look,
times. Yeah.
It's the one thing. The one thing that makes this very, very interesting, and we should encourage everybody to watch this series. Washington's got to show up.
Yeah.
To produce in Game 6 because they're young enough to take it for granted that even with their back against the wall that they could show up and win a Game 6. They need to remember they lost all 3 home games in last year's semifinals to the Indiana Pacers.
They did.
Don't take it for granted that you're going to win tomorrow night. But if they win tomorrow night, Game 6, Game 7, it's not money that the Atlanta Hawks are going to end up winning that basketball game because outside of Horford, who do you have to rely on that you can definitively say will produce in a Game 7? I don't know who that person is on Atlanta.
Okay.
I know who it is on the Wizards.
Which brings me to the issue facing Coach Budenholzer going into Game 6 now on the road back in Washington. Jeff Teague made the All-Star team this year. Jeff Teague is acknowledged as the point guard leader of this team. As Teague goes, the Hawks go, or so we're told. I never loved Jeff Teague when he was at Wake because I would turn it on and he would turn it off. I'd turn on the TV, and some games he was into it, and some games it's like, I don't know if I feel like playing tonight. No denying the ability to create the sort of, it's almost a subtle quickness that he has. It doesn't even translate to your eye. He can get in the lane anytime he wants to get in the lane, and he can make big threes himself sometimes. Some nights, I don't know why, just doesn't feel like playing. So what did Coach Bud do last night? He sat him. He went with little young Dennis Schroeder down the stretch for the last 5.5 minutes of that game. Teague sat and watched. Hey, I don't know that he loved that. I didn't see any quotes after the game. I don't know if he even spoke to the media after the game. Now, I'm sorry, the little Schroeder's growing on me. He's got huge talent, too.
He's good.
And remember, they called the last play of the game to win the game for Schroeder.
Yeah.
And again, he got blocked by Wall. But Jeff Teague could be a big issue facing this team in Game 6.
It could be, but keep in mind, Game 5, Jeff Teague had 26 points.
He did. Well, some nights.
One turnover. Listen, one turnover, played 32 minutes. He played 31 minutes last night. The difference is that he had 7 turnovers because he was going up against Wall.
Oh.
Schroeder's longer.
You can make that case.
Okay.
Schroeder's longer. He's longer. He's a little bit more athletic. He's not miniature. He's longer, and Wall doesn't cause the problems for him, or didn't seem to cause the problems for him in Game 6 that he caused Teague. So keep that in mind.
All right.
All right, so really quickly here, Al Horford on the last play, he said, again, he wasn't supposed to be there, but he ran over there at the last minute. That's why you said he's one of the most underrated players in the league. They're not giving him credit.
The most.
All right, we leave it there. And remember, Game 6 tomorrow, 7 o'clock Eastern. We asked you earlier in the show if you thought Tom Brady's image had been tarnished or destroyed. Here's what you said. The Twitter poll results are in. 56% say yes, 44% say no. Is that about right?
No, I think that's high on the no side. Right.
What do you think, Stephen A.?
Oh, it should be higher on the yes side. And the reason why is because understand that perspective also gets included with image. They're not two separate things. Perspective and image are pretty much intertwined.
All right, he says perspective and image intertwined. America has spoken. There was another poll released, an exclusive one, an ESPN ABC poll, and they were with hardcore fans. We will reveal those results when we return. We'll be right back in just a few moments.